This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. Black Friday Game Day on Prime is an epic day of live sports. It all starts at 9 a.m. Eastern with the Capital One Skins game. Then, Black Friday football returns when the Bears take on the Eagles at 3 p.m. And it culminates with the final night of Emirates NBA Cup group play with Bucks Knicks at 7 p.m. and Mavs Lakers at 10 p.m. Black Friday Game Day, only on Prime.
In Walmart's Huluville, everyone ready their cart. Amazing Black Friday deals are about to start. Online and in the app, such great deals to explore. Everything you love from tech, toys, and more. The days to save and the ones to remember. It's only the 25th to the 30th of November. Set your alarms. Don't miss out. These deals are epic, without a doubt. The Who's are all ready, but are you? Walmart Black Friday deals await. Who knew?
This episode is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like needing the protection of an offensive guard on the football field, but getting an elementary school crossing guard. Sure, they're both guards, but you can only trust one to keep your quarterback safe when the game is on the line. So don't settle for just any insurance when there's State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Every other year is an Olympic year these days, as we prepare for Milano Cortina 2026, the first Winter Games in a European time zone for 2 decades. I'm John.
And I'm Michael. And Italy's organisers have had 7 years to get ready for the arrival of the world's best athletes on snow and ice. But for two of GB Snowsport's big-name freestyle ski stars, preparation hasn't been quite as predictable.
Had a pretty tough year last year. Had to have ACL and shoulder surgery, so it was just a year full of rehab. It was pretty tough, but we got through it and got back on the snow.
If not now, never. And I didn't want to spend the rest of my life wondering if I could have done another one, if I could have made a fourth games, landed that run that I wanted to. So I just decided I'm going to go for it.
Gus Kenworthy on his comeback from retirement, and Kirsty Muir on her comeback from serious injury.
This is a special episode of the podcast with GB Snowsport, and we're looking ahead to the Milano Cortina 2026 Winter Olympic Games.
We'll hear from Kirsty in a moment, but first, he's a 3-time Winter Olympian, an Olympic silver medalist in free ski slopestyle in his first games with the USA in Sochi in 2014, and by 2022, Gus Kenworthy's competing for Team GB in his third and final Olympics in the halfpipe, followed by retirement, spending some time with his partner, family and friends, and some acting. Or that's what he thought he wanted, anyway.
Been a long time coming. I had actually toyed with the idea after 2018, just because, honestly, just because of burnout. I had been doing it for my entire life. I started skiing when I was 3 years old, and it was just sort of like a passion and a pastime, and then it turned into kind of more of a career when I was 16. I signed with my first sort of paying pro sponsor and started traveling and getting to compete, and it was amazing. It was like a dream come true. But I'm 34 now. I was 30 at this last Olympics, and so it was half of my entire life I had been doing this professionally. I think I was kind of yearning for a slightly more normal existence and getting to be home with my partner and not always out of a suitcase on the road traveling, dealing with injuries. But I didn't do it in 2018. I wanted to go for one more, and then in 2022, it was kind of I had already made that announcement and that decision that this is my last season doing this. And it was really hard for me to walk away because it wasn't the season that I wanted to have. I wanted to really end on a high note, and I didn't really get to do that. I had 2 pretty bad head injuries that were sort of in close succession from one another, and the second one left me with a lot of lingering concussion symptoms. And if I would ski, if I would spin, I would get disoriented. If I would exert myself or get my heart rate up, I would get lightheaded and nauseous. Sometimes I was puking on the mountain. It just wasn't really conducive for training. And so my last few months before the games were really difficult for me, and I was barely skiing at all, and I was really having to be measured with how many runs I could take, how much I could do each day. I wasn't skiing myself. I just was kind of hanging on for dear life, and I ended up 8th. It wasn't a result that I was particularly thrilled with, but I'd already put the ball in motion to sort of call it quits at that time. So I did, and I walked away with my head held high and tried to remind myself of all the other stuff in my career that I've done and feel proud of that and try and feel that sense of accomplishment. But to be honest, I just kind of didn't. Like, I didn't fully feel it. I was like sort of convincing myself of something that wasn't really there. And then in the years after it, I like just sort of struggled and grappled with that decision and had a little bit of a loss of identity. And it also didn't help that the things that I set my focus on post skiing also kind of hit a standstill. One of them was acting, and the year after the Olympics, there was a writer's strike in Hollywood. So there was like absolutely no auditioning, no acting, nothing being greenlit, nothing being made. And so I was just really like at this weird crossroads and kind of in like this standstill holding pattern. And then as this Olympics got closer and closer, I just kind of realized like I think I still have it. I think I have more in the tank, and my body was feeling good. Like those concussion symptoms that I was having had dissipated. For a little while after the Olympics, if I went to the gym, if I pushed too hard, if I did anything too intense, that those symptoms would kind of kick in. But 6 months after the games, 9 months after the games, they were kind of gone, which was great. That was a huge relief. But I just kind of was like, okay, well, I feel like if my head's okay, the rest of my body feels good, I feel strong. I think I can still do it. Like I know I haven't done it in 3.5 years, but it's sort of like riding a bike. If not now, never. And I didn't want to like spend the rest of my life wondering if I could have done another one, if I could have done more, if I could have made a fourth game, landed that run that I wanted to. So I just decided I'm gonna go for it.
Is it fair, Gus, to say that maybe you watched your friend and fellow West Coast resident and fellow Team GB athlete Tom Daly come back in Paris because he had 3 years out after the games in Tokyo and then came back and won that medal again in Paris? Did that have anything to do with it?
For sure. Yeah, no, I mean, Tom's journey was definitely inspirational. And there was also a couple skiers. Lindsey Vonn retired and came out of retirement and then was on a World Cup podium, and that was really inspiring to me. Um, but yeah, I mean, Tom's a perfect example because like he won gold in Tokyo and could have very easily walked away at that point with his head held high and like feeling such an immense sense of satisfaction and accomplishment. And no one would have batted an eye at it. He was like at an age where that would have made sense, and he'd done so much. And he did take that break, and then still decided to come back. And I feel like that's it. It is really inspiring, and like he had wanted to do it, so his kids could see him compete, which is so cute. I'm in a new relationship now, and I actually like I would love for my partner to get to watch me compete. And I just yeah, I don't know. I just felt like I had one more.
How did the conversation go with GB Snowsport? Did you just phone the CEO Vicky up and say, I need to come back?
I just kind of honestly, I didn't even know if it was an option. Like I kind of like made the decision for myself, but then I was like, well, I guess before I get too far along, I should know if it's even possible. And so I had hit up one of the coaches at GB, Zoe Atkins coach, Joe Schuster, to talk to him about it. And then I reached out to Pat Sharples and sort of got the conversation going that way. It wasn't directly to Vicky, but Pat kind of circled back with me a week or so later and was like, hey, it's possible. Here's what it entails. This is what qualifying would look like. It's a really uphill battle, a short timeline, and we love you and support you emotionally and in spirit, but like we can't support you in any way, shape, or form financially. It's been a very deliberate decision to come back. I had to really weigh all of those things. I'm glad I did, but yeah, it's been kind of a wild one.
In some ways, you've fallen back in love with the sport because if you weren't in love with it, you wouldn't be doing it.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I made this decision and I was still kind of mulling over the finance part of it. And it was hard because I hadn't even skied. Like I was having all these conversations and finding out if I could like potentially make the team and what it would entail to qualify and all this stuff. But like I hadn't been on snow. I hadn't skied. Since that Olympics in Beijing, I had skied a total of like 6 days, and they were with like my niece and nephew, and like I took my boyfriend skiing for the first time. It wasn't like skiing, it was like cruising around the mountain. And
Did
so
you do any skills?
no, nothing. Not there's not a half pipe in my home mountain. Like I hadn't done anything. I was kind of like, oh, I'm really making all these plans, but like God forbid I get on snow and like try and do something in the half pipe again and it's just not there. Um, and so I went to my first training camp in Mammoth in May. I really did just love it. Like I feel like I fell in love with it again, and I felt like I was skiing. I mean, maybe not better. There was still a little bit of like rustiness, but I almost felt like I was skiing better than I was in the lead up to Beijing. I think especially because of the head injury stuff, I had become really hesitant with certain things, and I just had a lot of fun. And it was also like good that we had amazing weather and the pipe was fun. And all things considered, I feel like I'm skiing well and I am enjoying it. And the good days that we've had have been pretty great. And my coach kind of keeps reminding me, like, dude, we've barely had any days. Like, you're skiing great. Like, we've had like a total of 8 good days on snow since this decision. So, like, be happy with where you're at. And like, we still got time before the games. And so I'm feeling good.
What will it mean if you can get selected back for Team GB for these Olympics?
I mean, it'll be a big relief. But I think it'll also signal to myself that I made the right decision. Um, but it also will mean that it's sort of like just really the beginning because I just have to make the team, but that's a different battle than trying to go and land the run that I want to do and on the podium or near the top of the results list and just have a run that I'm really, really proud of. Like the run that I will probably be doing at these qualifying events is not the run that I will probably be doing in Milan. I just like there's a bit of strategy. So I will try and do what I have to do to get through. And then once I've got my spot, knock on wood, then I will start putting the pieces together for the run that I really want to do.
And obviously, final question. You're a strong-willed, successful man. You've been through your life, from winning the medal to coming out to retiring to coming back. You're not going to give up on acting, are you?
No, I'm not giving up. I think I've sort of changed my approach with it a little bit. I mean, there was like a while where I wasn't doing anything for the writer's strike, and then after that, I was kind of taking any and every audition that came my way afterward. And I feel like now I'm planning and thinking that I'll be a little bit more selective with it. And there are sort of specific types of roles that I want to do, so I will push hard for those and probably pull back from doing some other stuff, and then just kind of uh, expand my horizons in other ways and keep myself busy in other capacities. And I don't think all my eggs are in the acting basket necessarily because it's really difficult and it's like kind of a thankless job and it's a lot of work and there's not a lot of payback until suddenly there is. Like if you make it and you're a successful actor, then sure, it's like a highly lucrative job. But if you're not and you're like booking something here and there and it's a guest spot or it's some indie movie or whatever, like it's not enough money to live off of. So
It's like being an Olympian, isn't it?
yeah, trying to diversify. I mean, God, skiing, it's hard to make a living off of too. I picked 2 really hard jobs that are somewhat thankless.
Well, look, we wish you all the success to get out to Milan, Cortina, and then we wish you all the success for the rest of what your life has in store. But we really appreciate Gus Kenworthy, you talking to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
Gus Kenworthy there talking to John about a return for what would be his 4th Olympic Games. Qualification takes place through December and early January, and we wish him all the very best. Now, fellow GB Snowsport star and fellow Olympian Kirsty Muir already has some key qualification points bagged after her return to the snow in 2025 and a slopestyle World Cup win, which followed a year out injured with a torn ACL. The 21-year-old Scot is set to compete in what would be her 2nd Olympic Games after making her debut in the COVID Games of Beijing 2022.
I look back on it quite fondly. Obviously, it was a really cool thing to be a part of. As you say, it was a difficult game just with COVID and not having kind of family there and a few other things. But overall, I was proud of how I skied, especially in the big air. And I've got fond memories of it, but really looking forward to this next one.
How did you cope? Because obviously we know you were the youngest member of the team, a teenager, so young, and not having that support network around you.
Yeah, I mean, it was difficult, but I did have my coach Joe there, which was obviously a really big support for me. Jamie was there as well. And yeah, there's people on the team as well to hang out with. So yeah, it was difficult, but there was definitely people there to help you along.
And I guess you are kind of experienced in that because with your sport, naturally, you can't be in Aberdeen doing it most of the time. You have to go where the snow is.
Exactly. Yeah, we're used to being away. I'm used to saying, see you in 4, see you in 6, who knows how many weeks. So, yeah, I'm pretty used to it now. But definitely looking forward to having them there this time. So that's going to be a really good thing.
And it's going to feel, I think, like a proper Winter Olympics, because we're going to have proper snow, we hope, and proper mountains, something we didn't necessarily have in Beijing.
It's going to be really cool to have in Italy. Yeah, I'm really excited to see how it all comes together, see the course, and yeah, as you say, be in the Italian mountains.
And where are you in terms of knowing what you're going to do in your jumps, your runs when you get to Italy? Are you working through that now, or is that something that you're still going to be working on right up to the day that you compete?
Yeah, it's kind of like it's a bit of both. We've seen like mock-ups of what the course could be specifically for the slopestyle, but then again, you never know what it's going to be like when you get there. It's like the same with any World Cup, where you have usually 2, maybe 3 days training on the course, and that's when you build your run. So obviously we'll have practiced lots of different things that we could do in the run, and specifically the jumps be like focused on a few tricks that we would want to put down on them. But again, you kind of have to wait till you're there and see how it all can come together.
And do you sometimes hold something back, maybe, so that it's something your other competitors maybe haven't seen you do before, but you've been working on in training?
I don't know, it always just depends. Some people do and some people kind of don't, and it kind of depends on what the comps and different scenarios before. I mean, I think personally I would have wanted to try it before if I can, and if not, like it just depends on the moment. I mean, when I was in X Games, I tried a dub 16 for the first time in the comp, just because I was like, I'm ready to go for it now. So you kind of just, you never know.
And this might sound like a slightly daft question, but when you're doing something where you've got a couple of runs or 3 runs, for example, could you potentially change your mind on what you're going to do in those runs, depending on where you are in the standings, for example?
Yeah, for sure. I think like quite a lot of the time you usually have the 2 things you want to do on those 2 first runs, and obviously the main goal is to get them done, both of the first 2 runs, and do them cleanly, and then you have that 3rd run to step up and give it some more. Sometimes you just go out at the bat and straight away do your 2 biggest tricks, and then it gives you a chance, if you do crash on one of them, to do it again in the 3rd run. So again, like it's each kind of competitor chooses to do it differently. Qualification to finals, it maybe kind of changes. In the finals, it's usually just all out from the get-go.
And you mentioned the X Games, and one of the things that I spotted in some of the highlights that I've seen is how kind of super supportive of each other you are. You're going head-to-head, toe-to-toe in competition, but and I think this happened in the X Games, if someone did something for the first time, you're as happy for them achieving that as you are for your own achievements.
Yes, exactly, absolutely. I feel like the camaraderie in our sport is so great. As you say, it's a competition, but in the end, I'm so happy for my friends to have landed some incredible tricks as well. Like, yeah, the last X Games I competed in, it was Megan Oldham going for the first triple, and as you say, when she landed that, I was absolutely over the moon. I genuinely couldn't believe it. I was like, it was so cool. And yeah, it's such a great feeling to have all the girls around and be so happy for each other.
And is that because the sport you do is more than a sport? It's a lifestyle in many respects?
Yeah, I think so, exactly. Like from the start of the winter all the way through, we're at the same events, we're at the same places training, we're always there. And I mean, you go through a lot of ups and downs in this sport, and it's nice to have them around through all of it.
Let's talk about you. Back fit and well now. Tell us what happened and how hard that was to essentially miss out on a year.
Yeah, well, as you say, I'm all good and back at it now, and everything's feeling great, which is amazing. But yeah, I had a pretty tough year last year. Had to have ACL and shoulder surgery. So it was just a year full of rehab. And yeah, it was pretty tough. A lot of gym, a lot of work in different areas, a lot of patience, but we got through it and got back on the snow.
And the shoulder surgery, that was a kind of ongoing issue, but the ACL was something that happened, was it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we don't know specifically when I did my ACL, just because the scan didn't have swelling, which kind of showed it wasn't then. But anyway, I got the scan in December of 23 after kind of feeling just a bit of a niggle at a competition. Got the surgery in January, and then at the same time as I got the knee scan, I had already a shoulder ones planned, which is why I got in for the knee so quickly. And yeah, it kind of showed that I did need to have shoulder surgery. It didn't need to be immediately then, but we decided to do it in the March just to get it out the way and get back 100%.
And I guess physically you have complete and utter confidence in what the medical team are doing. They put you back together, they fix you up, but to have a year out must mentally be very difficult for you.
Yeah, that's for sure. There's a few kind of different parts to that. One of which was watching the competitions and not being able to be there. And another side was obviously like it's very small steps that you take in each part of the rehab, and not getting too down when you weren't, progressing super fast and everything. That was hard. And I had a few setbacks, like at the end, my hamstring just was not strong enough to get back skiing when I really wanted to, so I just had to keep strengthening a bit more. And and then when you get back on snow, you've always got those little bits of nerves, and then just got to get through that.
Sorry to drag up some of the negative stuff that's happened to you, so let's move on to the positives. And the positives were you came back and World Cup success came your way.
Well, yeah, so the first comp I got back, I managed to make the final. Each comp I did, I was getting back my tricks. I was feeling a bit better in my skis, and yeah, as I say, just feeling better each comp. And then, in teen, managed to get on that top spot on the podium, which has been a goal of mine for a long time. So to come back and be able to get that done, it was very good.
Yeah, with the 3-year-old that started skiing in Aberdeen at the sports centre there, think one day they'd be on top of a World Cup podium?
I mean, I don't know what 3-year-old was thinking, but definitely 10-year-old me was hoping that could be a reality. So I was very happy about that.
I'm interested as well. When do you find in your own mind that you're a very good alpine skier, but you want to try freestyle? How does that happen? Because that can't just happen overnight, can it? There must have been a few bumps and bruises to get to the level that you get to.
That's for sure. I mean, initially for starting freestyle, I was at a kids club at the dry slope in Aberdeen, and at the end of a session we'd go over to the freestyle slope just for 10 minutes. They'd give us a little go. They could just see how much I enjoyed it, and they would told my parents, take her to the freestyle night, please, she'll enjoy it. So that's how it kind of started, and then over years it just gradually built up. I mean, I specifically remember on my 10th birthday, I was I'm gonna do a flip today, this is what I'm gonna do. So I did a front flip then. I don't know when specifically it kind of all became a bit bigger to me, but it was just something very fun growing up.
I know you obviously compete for your country as GB Snowsport regularly, but to be back at another Olympic Games, that will be an incredible thrill, I think, for a lot of people around you, won't it?
Yeah, I hope so. I think it will be. I don't know. It's weird to think about, but I'm just very excited about it. As I say, I'm just excited for them to come out and watch me ski, because my family haven't seen me compete since the Youth Olympics in 2020. So it's been a while, and I'm really excited for that. I'm excited for my friends to be able to watch it at home, and it's just going to be great.
Kirsty Muir talking to Michael on the comeback trail and her second Winter Olympics on the snow. Good luck to her, Gus, and all the GB Snowsport team aiming for a place at the Olympics and Paralympics in 2026. Make sure you follow for more of their stories.
This has been a special episode of the podcast with GB Snowsport.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.